on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC reality checking. You don't see my pretty sexy face ever, but I got company this time. Guapo, what's up?
Hola, Mr. Miguel, Senator Guapo's back again, and that's right, I'm here on the Spaz Phoenix channel, so you know what we're going to be talking about? WWE! Ha! Fuck that. No. We're talking about the good promotion, good old Koki Khan.
Impact Wrestling.
AEW.
Okay, so I gotta stick in a quick programming note here, guys. If you guys are listening, if you guys are wondering, it's Friday by the time this goes out. Where's the Impact review? So here's the deal: scheduling gods still don't like me and Guapo. Also, Guapo's adjusting to having an adult job, so we couldn't record until tonight. So
Bitch.
If I get the chance sometime over the course of the weekend to review this week's episode of Impact, I will do that. If not, we'll have to skip a week and catch up next week. But we are here to talk about what happened on Wednesday, which is 2 days ago once this drops on Friday. We're here to talk about what is now, I guess, a 4-night event. It's 2 weeks and 2 shows and all that. And we're doing Fyter Fest week 1. Like, we're not going to talk about how disposable Rampage is.
Let's remind the viewers that Senor Guapo here went to the original first ever Fyter Fest live in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Did you see the one this week?
Yes, I watched it.
Were you at the one this week?
No.
Then it's irrelevant. I'm a dick.
Just
it's
like
fun.
the Spaz Phoenix bucket list with the hey, we're going to talk about Destiny.
Yeah, we are. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Actually, you know what I will say? I will stick in another cheap plug, but this time it's not for my own content. If you guys are looking for something a little bit different to check out, or you're actually curious as to what I'm talking about when I talk about Destiny, they are doing a live stream next Tuesday, which I believe is the 19th, at about 7:30 my time, which is Toronto, Canada time. They're going to have a couple of the representatives on that live stream. They're going to be
here down in the U.S. of Central Time.
Anyways, they're going to be pulling out some matches from the Destiny archive. They're going to be doing some voiceover. They're going to be making some announcements as to our next show coming up, which is more appropriate if you guys are local, but if not, go check out, I don't know what they're pulling from the archive, if I'm completely honest, but if you guys are tired of hearing me say Destiny Wrestling, check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list, and you actually want to see what I'm talking about, they will be doing that live stream next Tuesday. I really do encourage you guys to check it out, because they do some good shit. Anyways, Fyter Fest was last night, by the time this goes out, 2 nights ago.
Yep.
Really good show after a previous week of not a lot of people liking it, but me liking it. So everybody seems to be pretty happy, pretty wrestling heavy. I mean, they threw a lot of information at us, for upcoming future stuff, as is the way. But a lot of fun stuff, a lot of good wrestling stuff, and a lot of, hey, here's what you got to look forward to, all rolled up into a ball. I don't know how we're going to structure a review with 2 people instead of 1, so I'm a little off of my game, but we started off the night with the new TNT champion Wardlow, who is basically Goldberg, taking on Orange Cassidy, which was a what the fuck is this match going to look like match.
Yes.
The best friends brought out a chainsaw. That was a thing.
Yes, they did.
I do like the fact that they referenced last week's Rampage in the sense of when Orange Cassidy had his match with Tony Nese and they got thrown out for not having manager's licenses. So now they have manager's licenses and chainsaw things happened. So they got themselves kicked out anyway. I will say, though, great match overall. Orange Cassidy is awesome. Wardlow is obviously, like, one of the big AEW, like, projects. We've had a lot of talk about, like, oh, this person was well-known from here, this person was well-known from there. We got a whole bucket list of people from WWE, like, but what has AEW actually done? And then you pull out names like Darby Allin, MJF, in this case, Wardlow. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on the match? I'm going to throw it to you while I collect myself.
So, going in, I honestly thought it was just going to be a squash. But I'm really happy that they didn't turn it into a squash, as well as you kept Wardlow face, you kept Cassidy face, it was good all the way around. I mean, Cassidy got to do some high flying stuff. Wardlow got to show off some agility. It was good. Plain simple.
I like the beginning. Cassidy doing the thing with the pockets, and Wardlow not only pulling his hands out but ripping the pockets out of his pants.
Yes.
And then Cassidy's response being just to like put the straps back up. Like, hey, I have a thing, but like stereotypical giant wrestler A, you also have a thing.
Right.
I will say the match was fun to watch. As a minor criticism, and I have to underline this super. There was a bit in the middle where nothing really, like nobody really did anything, and by that I mean every power thing that Wardlow tried to do was immediately escaped by speed. Every speedy thing that Orange Cassidy tried to do was swatted away by power. So there was a good chunk in the middle where everybody had all their guns out and none of the bullets hit, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That works as a storytelling thing. It went a little too long. Didn't at all stop me from enjoying the match. Obviously, Wardlow just got the title not too long ago. I mean, happy for him. We don't know where the whole MJF thing is going right now, so he just basically dispensed with that, and he's moved on to title stuff now. Show of respect after the match. He went to pick up Orange Cassidy. The best friends were out there to make sure that it was just that, and they had the fist bump, and Orange Cassidy did sort of like the lazy fist bump back to them. Nice thing to do, and nice way for the match to end. You know, Orange Cassidy and his friends aren't stupid. Like, by all means, he definitely could have, like, picked him up and chucked him around like an empty tracksuit, but that's just not what happened.
Right.
What I've heard from other podcasts and tossed around on Twitter a little bit is kind of a nice... I don't know if this is something AEW is actually doing, but it would be a nice touch if they did do it. Wardlow needs some friends.
Yes.
In the sense of, like, here's the guy that was the heavy for MJF for so long, MJF who nobody liked. So just because he's parted ways with MJF, the whole roster being like, well, yeah, but we don't forget what you did to all of us, does make sense.
Yeah.
So in the land of AEW, where everybody's got friends, everybody's got a gang, everybody's got a mob, etc., Wardlow needs some friends. So if Wardlow's friends are the best friends, then good. Oh, and I didn't forget as well, he was able to predict in advance the moment that they were pulling out Danhausen, who was also very lawyer, very evil.
Danhausen, always the best part of the show.
Yeah, well, I guess the thing with him and Hook is over because, you know, jumping all over the map, but later on in the evening they tried to interview Hook about, like, sort of being undefeated, and it's like, hey, are you going to go for a title? And him kind of fucking off.
Right.
The Hook thing, I would have liked to see the oddball tag team with him and Danhausen go a little bit longer. Like, those things are never meant to last, but it sort of happened and went. They're getting into the territory now of, like, him just, you know, being really aloof and really, like, you know, really carefree and I do my own thing, to him just coming off like a dick.
You know what he's doing, right?
What's he doing?
He's keeping you on the hook. Don't worry, I'll be all week.
Nah, I'm gonna let you sit there for a second and think about what you just did.
Oh no, I know what the fuck I just did.
All right,
it's fine. I'm okay with it.
All right, but like, do you agree? Like, they're going from like this like too cool for school guy to like, okay, he just ignores everybody and he comes off like a bit of an asshole. Like, I don't know whether that's an intentional thing or whether they've just taken something that was basically a meme and used it to the end of its fullest extent. I like Hook. Don't get me wrong, but
I love Hook.
They need to do something with him. Like, he's past the point of, like, here's just another cool guy on the show that everybody likes. He's not actually in a story. We're reminded by Taz on commentary who he is and who he's attached to, but he's not really attached to Team Taz because people like him too much.
You know what they really need to do with Hook?
They need to get him a chick. And some more chips.
I mean, yes.
Ketchup chips.
Probably not. they need to allow Hook. Honestly, I think Hook would probably do really well starting off, really getting a bigger push in ROH.
I could see that.
Because he doesn't need the mainstream spotlight yet. I mean, he's still super green. He's just starting off in the wrestling business. So, I mean, that's not to say that it wouldn't be a good thing to give him more spotlight on AEW. Yeah. But
let me be clear. I'm not saying push him towards any title right away or anything like that, but just like the fact that you're like do something with him, or you're getting to the point of underlining that you're doing nothing with him.
Correct.
And having him chuck around like whoever on your roster you think is disposable at the moment does have a short shelf life.
Yes.
I would love to see him have sort of and I know he's tied up in like Blackpool Combat Club stuff, but some sort of like running feud but like mutual respect type thing with somebody like Claudio.
Yeah.
Would do him some good, like, because I don't think, I mean, he spent most of his time in WWE like looking good and jobbing, so I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind putting Hook over.
Right.
I mean, we've kind of glossed over the fact that, hey, since the last time we did a podcast, Claudio's in AEW, so that's a thing.
That's right. So that's Claudio Castagnoli. We have Cesaro in AEW.
Yeah, we do. Oh, and it is Cesaro when we get to that. We will get to that when we get to that. But yeah, no, I think because somebody like Cesaro is sort of the opposite of what Hook is. Like, Hook is, all about the aesthetic, all about the look, all about the, character such as it is. And then, yeah, he also goes in the ring and does cool shit. Cesaro is, especially in WWE, they didn't really ever give him a story other than something that was really lame and everybody just kind of ignored it. But it was just like, okay, I don't care. Throw him in the ring and he'll do something cool.
Yeah.
So to have that with somebody like Hook, who is sort of coming from the opposite direction, I think could be really good. I don't really know. I know they don't want either one of them to lose, so that would be kind of bad. So maybe start him off feuding with like Hager, as we're going to get to later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Hook thing is weird. They got to be really careful before he just starts coming off as an obnoxious dick. He's not there yet. Still like Hook, but they're sort of trending in that direction. We got footage of Pac on Dark, and I don't watch Dark because a wrestling company shouldn't give you homework, but it was footage of him defending the All-Atlantic Championship over in Rev Pro, which I think is in the UK. Correct?
Yes, that is in the UK.
I really like this, but I want to contrast it with something, because they also had who was it? Thunder Rosa defending her title over in Japan against somebody whose name I don't remember, and I'm not going to be disrespectful trying to remember it. Now, here's my problem with this. Brand new title in the All-Atlantic Championship, where we said, okay, if this is going to be a thing, like, we don't really need another singles title, but if the idea of this is that it's sort of going to be the roaming title, like sort of wandering all over the world to various federations and representing AEW in those federations, A, that's really cool. B, it's great to do it with somebody like Pac, who's probably happy to spend more time over in the UK. But if you're in the same show, you're also showing Thunder Rosa doing that with the women's title, then the uniqueness of that part of it gets lost, and you go back to thinking, okay, so what's so special about the All-Atlantic title?
Right.
I will say, though, he was defending it against Shooter. People get all excited about Shooter, apparently. But he's defended it, obviously. I think if he's gonna, he's not gonna lose it on a pre-recorded segment of an already pre-recorded show. I think that's pretty safe to say. But they are showing it. They are giving him TV time. They're giving that new title TV time. They're giving whatever promotion he's in for that particular match some worldwide exposure as well. It's a win all around for me. Like I say, them doing the exact same thing with Thunder Rosa kind of detours from it a little bit, but I think it's pretty cool, short, sweet, to the point. Hey, this is what happened. You guys should check it out. It's pretty cool.
Yes.
Any thoughts on who takes it off of him?
Off of Pac?
Yes. Because, assuming that it is somebody actually on the AEW roster.
And that's the thing. I kind of don't want it to be. I kind of want the first person to take it off a pack, not be a AEW roster person. It needs
I
to
can
be
see the value
somebody.
of that. I can definitely see the value of that. If it is somebody on the roster, I want it to be Aleister Black, only because
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Aleister Black, and he's another one in a very different way.
honestly, Aleister Black is a great choice. The only other choice I think right now logically would be better, Miro.
But I don't like Miro just came back. So as far
Yeah.
as like needing something, his something right now is that he just came back and people are glad that he's back. And
Yeah, I mean,
I think it would make more sense for him cuz he came back and he said he was going to reclaim his gold and his gold is the TNT title. So if they want to follow that story through, what I would say if he wasn't currently carrying an ROH belt is I would say Wheeler Yuta. Because just Wheeler Yuta versus Pac would be an amazing match, first of all. Second of
yeah.
all, Blackpool Combat Club versus the House of, or not the House of Black, the Death Triangle has all kinds of fantastic and fun possibilities. But yeah, no, Aleister Black is another one of those guys. Like here, we know exactly what he is. We know exactly what kind of group he's leading. But the leader usually, sooner or later, needs something that signifies him as the leader. And
Right.
yeah, spooky bollocks. And then he can fight Penta for it, and we can have the Lucha Taker with Alex Abrahantes dressed as Dracula, and it's fine. Jericho, oh God. Jericho responded to Eddie Kingston, who is still clinging to Jericho's coattails to stay relevant, who wants a barbed wire everywhere match. He wants a barbed wire everywhere match with the entire Jericho Appreciation Society in tow.
I mean,
in tow in a Shark Tank above the.
because they can't do an exploding barbed wire match.
But I mean, like. Yeah, but the thing is, when they did the exploding barbed wire match, the explosion was the least deadly thing in the match.
Right, because of the pyro person being crap.
Okay. Here's my thing, and here's where I'm going to rant because it's Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston can fuck off. All right? Again, I have to throw this to you because this is how I have to start every Eddie Kingston conversation. How high was I on Eddie Kingston? Like, not that long ago.
You mean like 3 months ago?
Like 3 months ago. I've made this point a million times, but the Phoenix fans will forgive me. Yes, that's a shot at Sidgwick. Sidgwick can fuck off. Like, he's such a fucking cartoon character. The whole thing with the gas can was cartoon character shit. The whole, like, him, like, doing a promo where he couldn't touch anybody, so he just stood there kind of like a bobblehead. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Jericho announces that it's going to be not just Jericho, it's going to be the Painmaker, which is fine, I guess.
I mean, the last time we saw the Painmaker in AEW was against
was it
a
against
certain...
Mox? Was it against Mox?
No. Nick Gage.
Oh, yeah. That was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was definitely a thing.
Okay. So we go through here and we talk. Jericho talks all about. Jericho's great. Like Jericho is trying to drag this over the line, right?
Yeah, right.
So we've got this thing. We've had the group thing that just got bigger and bigger and bigger until we had Blood and Guts, which was great, and you had the interesting storytelling beat of like Kingston's team won, but he didn't get the victory, so he just seems like a petulant child. That's fine. And then they did the thing with Ruby Riott. And up until that point, again, if they said this on Dark or Dark Elevation,
Ruby Soho, but yeah.
What did I say?
Riot.
Okay, whatever. So they did the thing with Ruby, and I don't care about Dark or Dark Elevation because wrestling shouldn't give you homework. Before this moment, has there been any reference to the relationship between Ruby Soho and Eddie Kingston on Dynamite or Rampage?
No.
There we go. So they I'm sure they're friends. I'm sure there is a friendship in real life there. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the AEW canon so to speak, right? So they manufactured that, and then they've parlayed it into, oh, well, Daniel Bryan was on his team and he's injured now, and Santana was on his team and he's injured now, and Ortiz got his head shaved, and Ruby Soho got her arm taken out by Tay Conte last week. Here's the problem, and Guapo, I really want you to tell me if you think I'm wrong here.
Okay.
They manufactured the Ruby Soho thing. Basically, they're able to do that because Sammy Guevara and Tay Conte are back in the Jericho club, right? And
Yeah.
it's supposed to be one notch in the battle between Jericho and Eddie Kingston, correct?
Correct.
I promise you right now, I give 10 times more of a fuck about Tay Conte versus Ruby Soho than I do about Eddie Kingston doing anything.
Okay. I can see where you're going with that.
I just, it's not only is it more thrown together, Eddie Kingston's infinitely been given more time than somebody like a Ruby Soho. If Ruby Soho versus Tay Conte is a thing, Ruby Soho might actually have a match on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Now, the people on the other side of the coin that hate Sammy Guevara and Tay Conte for living their best lives are shitting on Tay Conte because she hasn't had a proper singles match in like a couple of months or whatever. My response to that is always, and what do the old wrestlers always talk about? You've got a certain bump card, and then when it gets spent, it gets spent.
Right.
Yeah, she hasn't had very many matches, but she's in a prominent storyline. She's featured prominently on television, and she doesn't have to take bumps. Who's the smart one?
Yeah. And she's still making the same amount of money.
And she's still making the same amount of money. She's got her guy there, and they're having a good old time. She's featured with basically a bunch of goofs, but also Sammy Guevara, who's one of the pillars of the company, as named by the company, and a first ballot Hall of Famer in Chris Jericho. I mean,
Yep.
Sammy Guevara definitely did just bring his girlfriend home to meet his dad, but that's the thing. So people shitting on them are the same as people that shit on Carmella and Corey Graves. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I don't, Guapo, make me care. Do you care? Do you have a shinier vision of this?
I'll be honest.
Okay.
I could care less about what's going on with the Jericho Appreciation Society, and that's terrible because
they're all great.
they're all great. Jericho is literally probably my most favorite wrestler ever. Sammy has grown on me to become one of probably in my top 10 of yeah, I'd spend my money to just watch him. I don't fucking care about this segment at all. I mean, do I want to watch Eddie Kingston and Jericho beat the living shit out of each other in a barbed wire match? Yeah, I do. But the build up, everything.
But when did this start? How long ago did this start? Didn't this... Okay, my memory's shit, but didn't this start because Kingston is friends with Santana and Ortiz, and Santana and Ortiz were kicked out of the Inner Circle?
Yes. That's
so
when
why
it started,
is he the focus then?
When the Inner Circle broke up.
So why is he the focus then?
Because he's Eddie Kingston.
I know he's out there, grandstanding, sticking up for, what he's sticking up for on social media, which I do believe in. I do believe in the whole, fuck off and stop body shaming people and all that kind of thing. But, and he's not, he always presents it as he's not sticking up for himself. He's sticking up for the guys like Adam Cole. Adam Cole ain't in bad shape. He's just a smaller dude. I mean, he's not Eddie Kingston.
Right.
But, but in all seriousness, I'm taking the piss a little bit. But, he makes some good points, right? But that doesn't translate into the ring. He's a fucking goof.
Yeah.
He's like the JD from New York of wrestling.
No.
Yeah, he is. Let's be real for a second. Well, JD from New York or Sean's View Entertainment.
Sean's View.
They tried really hard to pull this across the line. Jericho, I feel bad when Jericho's trying, because, Jericho's fucking brilliant. Like, I know people are shitting on him this week because he came out with some comments about the Vince McMahon situation that we're not going to touch on tonight. But, like, the guy's always had unpopular opinions. Doesn't mean he's not a fucking wrestling genius.
Correct, I agree.
Like, if he broke all his limbs and could never wrestle again, you put him on your writing team. You put him on your coaching team. You put him on your promo team. You put him on your whatever team. Put him on the, like, production. Put him in with the music integration. Like, you put him on your team somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, you just do.
I mean, let's be honest. When Jericho finally retires from the ring, he's going straight to that commentary desk.
I mean, yeah. Or he's just going to go start his own wrestling company.
Nah,
which would also be good.
Which would
be really good. Jericho Appreciation Wrestling. It would be Jaw. Jericho Appreciation Wrestling Society. Jaws. Anyways.
Jaws.
So after this, we got a quote-unquote response from Eddie Kingston, which is just him grabbing a camera and yelling and spitting a lot and whatever. Now, here's the thing. Behind him is Ortiz and Ruby Soho. You know, I'm here with my friends that you've hurt just to get to me, da-da-da-da-da. So what they've done with this now is they've equated having your arm shattered in a door with getting a haircut.
Yes.
It doesn't work. And the thing is, they're supposed to be like all like, I don't know what they're supposed to be like, remorseful, hateful, whatever. They're just standing behind him, and they neither one, like, I'm sure this wasn't intentional, and I'm sure this isn't on AEW either, but they just look like they don't care. Like, he's out there like being all animated and yelling and shit, and they just look like they don't care. Like, they look like they'd rather be anywhere else.
Even they're tired of the storyline.
Ruby's tired of the storyline, and she's only been in it a week.
She'd rather go to Bucky's with Ethan Page.
Anyways, leaving that one alone. Then we saw two really... Okay, moving from Eddie Kingston to some really good wrestling. We had two guys beat the shit out of each other in Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly because I'm not going to do it again.
Yes, you did, actually.
William Regal on commentary is fucking great.
Always good.
They made a huge deal about the fact that Takeshita brought out his mouthpiece tonight, which I thought was a really... Like, they're a details company, but that's a very specific detail to zero in on, and I thought that was really cool. I don't know, talk about these guys slapping the shit out of each other.
I mean, it was literally a slobber knocker. It was a bloodbath. Out of the entire night, this was my favorite match.
Yeah, I would say that. I do get a little bit of, like, Money in the Bank feeling from Moxley. Like, you know, he's the interim champion. He's going to carry that title. He's going to carry it proudly, and I'm not taking anything away from Mox, obviously. But every 5 seconds or so, the commentary team is saying, well, whoever wins this is going to go up against the champ, CM Punk. And I'm like, you're taking away from the fact that he's a champion right now. And also, every time William Regal, like, pipes up and calls him the champion, it's like he's compensating for it almost too much. Like, if it was anybody but William Regal, it would be like hitting the nail on the head too hard. But these guys kick the crap out of each other. Takeshita, like, low-key is collecting some really, really good matches because he's fought Page, he's fought Kingston, unfortunately. He's got Mox. For somebody who's come in sort of out of, like, for the North American, like, mainstream wrestling fan, here's a guy that basically came out of nowhere, and he's getting a lot of screen time with a lot of the biggest names of the company. I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Where I say somebody like Hook needs a direction, a story, whatever, Takeshita, as new as he is, and as much as...
Hook would actually benefit, probably, to go to Japan.
Oh, like go on excursion for a bit.
Yeah. Go.
I can see that.
Go work the dojo for a couple months.
Yeah.
Work New Japan shows as a young boy or whatever it is for a solid year, come back
Yeah.
with that knowledge, he would tear some shit up.
And see, here's my thing. Like, I like your idea, despite, like, obviously, New Japan is not in my wheelhouse. Didn't know very much about New Japan going into Forbidden Door. Still really don't, other than the fact that Jay White's title looks like the Divas title and Cody's neck tattoo had a baby. It does.
You're not wrong.
My take on what you just said is there's a built-in thing, and okay, racism is a terrible thing. Racism, we both agree. Like, all of my sarcasm aside, racism is a terrible thing. But there's this other, like, in wrestling, there's this other weird racism that happens, and it's not literally based on race. It's this weird pedestal that, like, Japanese wrestling is on, and I'm not saying that it doesn't deserve to be there, right? But it's this, oh, if you've been in Japan for a bit, you must be good. Or if you hate somebody from New Japan, then, you know, you're being judgmental or racist or whatever, even if that person is like AJ Styles. So there's this weird, whenever I hear, oh, that person should just go to Japan and learn how to wrestle, and I know that's not what you're saying, but I'm making a more general statement.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's way different styles, way different techniques, way different, like, all kinds of things you can learn over there, but you could say the same thing about going to the UK, because the UK has a very specific style. I'm sure, obviously, if you go to someplace like Australia, where apparently, like, under the radar, the Australian, like, indie scene, from what I've heard, is, like, having, like, a little mini boom. And it would be kind of cool to go to a place like that where it booming at all is a new thing. So get in on the ground floor of a new thing. My long way around that is to say that I would say yes, send him over to Japan, not because of what Japan can do for him, but to give the American fans a chance to miss him.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've always said, like, in wrestling in general, like, and I'm not doing, like, what they say in What Culture, like, I don't want to see people get hurt, but, like, even kayfabe somebody an injury, like, let them go off for a month or so and let them come back, and, like, new is a selling point, always. Especially when we're just on, like I said before, we're just on the cusp of him going from, like, awesome to maybe being a bit annoying, and we don't want another Eddie Kingston situation. So send him out on a high, bring him back on the same high with some additional tools in his belt. You might have just hit it on the head.
Yeah.
You might have just hit it on the head, exactly. But getting back to this, with Takeshita, both guys get busted open, obviously, because it's a Moxley match. German suplex on the apron on Moxley by Takeshita was particularly dirty, if I'm going to say. But spike DDT, elbows, headbutt, Death Rider, chokeout. Moxley gets the obvious win. But it wasn't a squash. I'll give them that. I will give them that. Now, I don't really have anything else to say, because I really think, as good as Moxley is, and as good stuff as we're going to get from him in the interim, I really do feel like, in a certain way, he is kind of on hold until Punk comes back.
I mean,
that's a match that's definitely gonna happen. I mean, they've by making him the interim champion, they have subconsciously planted the match in your head, Moxley versus Punk.
Yeah.
So if they do something else now, no matter how good it is, it'll be not what's been in your head since, what was the Forbidden Door. So I think right now you go with what you've set up versus what could potentially be better. Like I've said for a while now, Adam Cole needs to be pulled up from the mid card and presented the way. I'm sorry, I don't get to say this very often these days, but the way NXT presented him. They brought him in day one, and he was a main eventer pretty much from day one. So for me, seeing Adam Cole in the mid card is pretty strange, right? They could put that belt on Adam Cole. You could set up Adam Cole versus CM Punk, and I think, me personally, I would look forward to that match. It would still not be the match that we've been waiting for since Forbidden Door.
Right.
I don't know. So they got to do something interesting. Maybe something not title related with Mox to make it interesting until Punk comes back, which hopefully is soon. We hope he's healing up nicely. The injury list, and I'm not just saying this for AEW, the injury list for all the companies across the board is super fucked right now. Coming around Sorry, go ahead.
Just to interject slightly.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I really do think, and you could disagree with me, but I think if for some reason over the next month, Punk announces or AEW announces Punk cannot return for like another 6 months to a year, they need to make him relinquish that title. But I'm not saying he doesn't get a shot. I'm saying make him relinquish it, make Mox the official champion, and with the stipulation that when Punk is cleared to return,
whoever's the champion when he comes back,
shot. Whoever's champion, no matter what, he has a shot.
I agree, only that whether Punk relinquishes his actual title or not, and I hate using this phrase, I've hated it ever since I heard it in the Rocky movies back in the day, whether Punk releases his title or not, the championship that Mox has right now, they can call it whatever they want, Mox is still going to be the paper champion. Because he didn't beat the previous champion. And correct. I get what you're saying, because you can only drag out the interim thing for so long, but I think now in my mind, I consider you, like, we're not just a casual fan. No.
Obviously, you got to cater to the casual fans to a certain extent.
Yep.
But, in the same token, you can't alienate the fans that have been around long enough to understand, hey, the dude's hurt.
Yep.
Why are we dragging this out any further? Because we know Mox isn't gonna. Punk. We know Punk isn't gonna be here anytime soon.
Right.
Just like any other job, whoever's in charge, say your boss is in charge, something happens to him and he's gonna be out for a while. Somebody's stepping up and taking that spot while he's gone.
Yep.
And when he comes back, guess what? This other person's going to either have to step aside or, hey, this person's been doing your job pretty well while you've been gone. Do we even need you?
Yeah, no, I get it. And I'm not necessarily saying that I disagree, right? But now that they already went one way. Like when Punk came out to cut his promo and he talked about wanting to relinquish the title so that somebody else can carry it, and the company at that point said, "No, we want you to be the champion. We'll come up with an interim title." Now there are two titles. Like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Now that they have gone that direction, whatever they do with Punk, Moxley holding that title is going to have that interim, that paper champion feeling regardless. And I don't think, now that you've made that creative decision to go one way, I don't think you can write your way back around it. I'm happy to have them prove me wrong. I'm happy to have them prove me wrong or come up with something that I haven't thought of. But I think regardless, you sort of run into, it's like, yeah, he's got a belt, but he didn't beat the champion because the champion wasn't
he's got a belt, but does that make him the champion?
Exactly. There was a lot of belts at Forbidden Door. One of them's kind of funny looking. Anyways, now we go to the House of Black promo because Brody King is calling out Darby Allin. Before we get to that match, which is going to be hysterical, I want to backtrack to, 2 weeks ago. I want to get your thoughts on the Royal Rampage match.
One more time, sorry.
The Royal Rampage, the 2-ring battle royal that they did after
Blood and Guts?
After Blood and Guts, yeah.
Yes.
You didn't watch it, did you?
No, I didn't watch Rampage.
Okay, never mind. No, I just thought it was a really interesting concept, and this is the sarcastic WWE guy. It's like, oh, they just took another WWE concept there. But I'm like, how are you going to make 20-man battle royal in 2 rings, not just feel like a rip-off Royal Rumble. And the way they set it up, did you even hear about it or anything?
I caught pieces.
Okay, so basically what they did was they had 2 separate Royal Rumbles running at the same time.
Okay.
And every minute, a new person joined, but they alternated, like, one's going to join the ring 1, one's going to join ring 2, one's going to join ring 1, one's going to join ring 2. And they had 2 simultaneous battle royals going on at the same time. And the idea was the 2 winners of the 2 individual battle royals, the last person to be eliminated out of those 2 would be the winner. And I thought, okay, you've just gone over the line of that's intriguing, and I like it as a concept. to take away my, you just took another WWE thing. It's really something they can only do the night after a Blood and Guts, so It doesn't have a long shelf life, I don't think. And the way that Brody King beat Darby Allin was hysterical. Because look at Brody King, look at Darby Allin.
Mm-hmm. Looking at them,
he basically put him in a choker, or like put him in a chokehold, hung him over the side of the ring until he passed out and dropped him. Like, it was comical to watch.
That.
It was comical to watch. So these guys are going to have a match eventually. Notable by his absence was Buddy Murphy, whatever the hell his name is.
Matthews.
Buddy Matthews, there we go. So is he injured as well?
Probably.
Okay, good. I like the fact that Julia Hart is with the House of Black.
Yeah.
And she actually has merch out right now calling her Julia Blackheart, which is
nice.
Awesome. It's absolutely predictable, but it's still good. I like it. It's really, really good. So we're going to get Brody King versus Darby Allin at some point, and that's going to be...
That'd be a good match.
That's going to be fantastic. Now, this is another one of these... Okay, this happened on the show, so I'm going to ask you about this in general. The whole Jungle Boy, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus situation. What are you thinking?
All right. So at first, I was just like, okay. This is just like, okay, Christian might be taking it a little bit far. The first time he did the whole "your dad's dead" thing. The second time when he was like, your whole family should have died. Well,
except your mom, she can give me a call.
Me. Like, this dude's a fucking dick.
Okay, on a side note, your thoughts on the rumor that this storyline was supposed to be given to MJF? I don't know if it's true or not. It's only something I've seen in a lot of places, because this is very MJF dialogue.
It is very MJF-esque. However, no. Like,
Christian's being the creepy bastard.
Christian is the perfect asshole for this.
And he wants to shag Jungle Boy's mom.
Yeah, I mean, straight up just, hey, call me. I want to fuck your mom. What the
No,
fuck,
the night that he did it, when he went out to the ring and the mom and the sister were there, he's like, I'm sorry that you gave birth to a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, God damn, dude.
Like, they had to just straight up tell him, hey, look, I'm not holding anything back. I'm just going to spew bullshit. I'm sorry in advance.
Yeah, and then this week we'll talk about it in a second. I'll tell you why I like it. I'll tell you why I think this is multifariously brilliant on AEW's part, right?
Yeah.
Because remember when they did the whole the Four Pillars thing? It was MJF, it was Jungle Boy, it was Sammy Guevara, and it was Darby Allin, right? And it's like, okay, right now Jungle Boy is part of this awesome tag team with Luchasaurus.
Yes.
One day he's going to branch out on his own. And then what the hell are they going to do with Luchasaurus? I thought it would have a very short shelf life, like Chris Statlander's old gimmick, or like Abaddon, or like something like that, right?
Right.
This works on a lot of levels because he's gone from being a monster in a tag team with somebody to being a monster on somebody else's leash, which is always good. Christian is a great snivelly asshole to be hiding behind a big monster.
Yeah.
Right now, Christian doesn't have to wrestle because, like, I'm not digging the guy. The guy can definitely still wrestle, but he's not as young as some of the people in AEW, so it's a perfect position for him right now. It's a really good reason to get some squash matches under Luchasaurus's belt and make him into a bigger monster. When Jungle Boy does come back, Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy as the obstacle to get to Christian Cage is going to be an awesome. It's going to be an awesome sub story, because by that time Jungle Boy would have been gone. The way that people loved him already is going to be multiplied when he gets back. In the meantime, Luchasaurus is going to get built up as this gigantic force, mind controlled by Christian, etc. And yeah, we're going to get Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy at a pay-per-view, and that match in and of itself is going to be awesome. Christian Cage, I have to believe at that point, is going to give everything he can to Jungle Boy.
Yes.
But it's almost more impressive having Luchasaurus there and building him up as the last hurdle beforehand, because that's the betrayal. Like, that's the betrayal bigger than the Christian betrayal, because the Christian betrayal is what, like a year or so in the making? Him and Luchasaurus.
At least the last like 3-4 months.
Yeah, well, ever since he replaced Marco Stunt, because they're basically the same.
God.
Marco Stunt kind of got fucked depending on who you listen to. But anyways, so the longer story, or the longer betrayal, being Luchasaurus, and that being the like I say, the obstacle or the hurdle just to get to Christian, is such a double layered story. The only thing I can compare it to is them capping off the CM Punk MJF thing by starting the MJF Wardlow thing. Like, it works because the Wardlow thing had actually been going on longer, and you know, it's sort of the wrestling distraction of, hey, look over here, but we're actually building this over here. And I think doing that with everybody wins from this. Christian gets to be a manipulator. Christian gets to do all the mic work. Christian doesn't have to take as many bumps. Luchasaurus finally gets to stand out on his own, have a singles run, become a monster. And Jungle Boy, I'm pretty damn sure, gets to defeat both of them on his way to either a TNT or an AEW championship at some point.
TNT for sure.
TNT for sure. I don't think he goes for the TNT while Wardlow's having it, which brings up the more creative conversation of who takes it off Wardlow, because it's going to have to be a heel.
MJF.
Really? You think so?
I think if any heel, that would be the heel to do it. Or
Sammy.
No.
I want it to be Sammy, not because he needs to hold the belt again, but I think Sammy would be a good asshole heel for Jungle Boy to win it off of. Because he'd be going up against Sammy, he'd be going up against the interference of Tay Conte, he'd be going up against the numbers game of the Jericho Appreciation Society. There's so many... Again, you're building up all those hurdles, and you're building it in a way that's not, oh my god, it's the trials of Jericho, we have to call it something. No, you can just, like, tell that story. Right. After you've already told this story of overcoming his long-lost friend, overcoming his new-lost friend, just to get to that main event of the mid-card, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm sorry, just Jungle Boy versus Sammy Guevara for the TNT title somewhere down the line. Fantastic. Or let him be the one that takes the All-Atlantic title off of Pac, because Pac's not a heel, but he can be an asshole.
That he can.
And then again,
he is a bastard.
And even then, if you're going up against the Death Triangle, you can have him go through Phoenix and Penta just to get there. And maybe he has, like, a weird, like, spectacle match against Alex Abrahantes in the Shovel. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So, what did they do here? Oh, yeah. The Hollywood Blondes showed up to work to lose a match.
Yeah, to get destroyed by Luchasaurus, which I love him being full monster.
Yeah. Luchasaurus Dark.
Yep.
I think it's great. I think this is, like I say, it totally negated my whole thing of like, oh yeah, like they're gonna split them up and he's gonna get Genetti'd. I don't think he's gonna get Genetti'd. He's gonna be a tool for Christian.
Furthest thing from being Genetti'd.
Yeah. Because eventually, Luchasaurus, being a fan favorite, is going to go back face again, and then he can have a monster squash of Christian at some point along the way as well. they make a whole thing about how Griff Garrison looks like Jungle Boy, and that's why Luchasaurus kills him. And I'm like, they're not wrong. So
It's funnier if you watch BTE.
okay.
Only because when was it? Brody was still alive. It was on BTE.
Didn't they say like, who the fuck is Griff Garrison?
Who the fuck is Griff Garrison? Yes, because they brought somebody in and said, "Oh yeah, we got Jungle Boy. You recruited Jungle Boy? Yeah, we recruited Jungle Boy." Turns him around.
Oh no.
It's fucking Griff Garrison, you dumbasses.
Oh no.
Who the fuck is Griff Garrison?
So then we, because we like to make fun of dads and stuff. We did Pillman stuff. Okay, I just gave it a bunch of praise. This is where it doesn't work. Christian Cage coming out, cutting like ridiculously scathing heel promos on Jungle Boy because that's the story.
Yeah.
Works. Him just saying whatever he wants, and yes, I'm including the Hardy Boys thing in this. Like, I'm just going to pick whatever dick thing I can say about you specifically.
I'm sorry, I love that.
Oh, no, it's good. It's good.
That dig was just too fucking good.
It is, but I
know you hate it because you love Jeff, but...
No, it's one of those things where I'm not censor. I'm not saying that he can't say it. It is where I lean into, okay, the people that are offended by it, I get it. But not so much that I'm going to say he can't say it. I'm saying it more from the fact that it dilutes it. Because all that, if he's just spouting off at everybody, then he's just spouting off at everybody. If he's directing his, haha, we got you, haha, I used you, you were a tool to me thing, directed specifically at Jungle Boy, then it works. The thing about the Pillman shot, and this is probably bad about wrestling on the whole, the Brian Pillman Sr. shot doesn't work as well, only because, like, Brian Pillman Sr. was also a wrestler.
Right.
Like, in like the not so classy parts of wrestling, if you die, your death could be used in a storyline. Eddie's down there in hell is a good example, right? So
yeah.
So it is one of those pretty, and plus, like, they've already done it, like when he fought MJF, when they were in his hometown and all that kind of thing, right? The reason it works so specifically with Jungle Boy is you've got somebody like Luke Perry, who isn't from the wrestling sphere at all, so it's not as predictable as the Pillman thing, but is equally somebody that everybody still knows, so there's still an attachment. So it works in a very unique way. If you just do it at if you had done it to Cody, like, Dusty's also a wrestler, so it's kind of predictable. So after doing it in a brand new way, like they did with the Luke Perry dig a couple weeks ago, this one comes off as a little bit diet.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not a good line. I'm not saying it wasn't a well-delivered promo. I'm just saying it doesn't, it's the copy of the copy. It's not quite as sharp as the original. Still very good. They put Griff Garrison through Pillman, who was on a table. So sandwich chokeslam is always for the win. And then we're supposed to have
the table didn't break.
So we just did it again. Oh, I will say there was a spot. I know you're not watching WWE right now. But
no, I'm not.
There was a spot at Money in the Bank during the ladies' Money in the Bank match where where they do the ladder bridge between the table and the apron.
Yes.
So Asuka was on the ladder bridge, and Becky did a senton off of a ladder onto her, and the ladder didn't break.
Ooh.
And it looked like it sucked a lot. It looked like it sucked a lot. WWE still does some stuff good. I mean, they just hired Logan Paul as an actual member of the roster. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny's coming back, and Vince McMahon technically had a match at this year's WrestleMania. Now he's going back to court. He's going to pull a Johnny. There we go. No, actually, Johnny deserved to get his justice. That was good.
Yes,
moving.
He's gonna pull a Johnny because he pulled his Johnny out.
Oh no. Oh, I saw a great thing. It was a Photoshop of Kevin Hart and The Rock, but Kevin Hart had been photoshopped to be like taller than him, and the caption was like, "This is what happens when you have a big heart and a small Johnson."
God.
Oh, the internet is wonderful. For some ass reason, Silver and Reynolds are going to take on the House of Black on Rampage.
Because they wish death upon themselves.
I got nothing. I will say, when they did the Brody tribute, I think it was last week. Man, what's left of the Dark Order?
That's it. That's all they got.
That's all we got. I will say the story.
I'm happy all of them will be staying with AEW.
Yeah, but there's like half of them that there was.
Literally 5. That's it.
Yeah. I will say the story about AEW almost letting Colt Cabana's contract lapse and then like several wrestlers being like, no, you need to keep him.
I honestly think what they're going to end up doing with Colt Cabana is he's going to be lead booker for ROH as well as like commentator and shit.
Okay, he's still getting a Tony Khan paycheck. Like, I'm sorry. I know that they're trying to be two separate things, and I'm really trying hard not to laugh because I am looking forward to the pay-per-view that's coming up. You guys will notice I'm going out of my way to not dig too far into the ROH stuff because the next time you get me and Guapo on a pod here together, unless I can get him back for week 2 of Fyter Fest, is going to be the predictions pod for Death Before Dishonor. We're going to dig into all of that. It already looks like a great card in my opinion, but I'm just, if you guys don't mind, I mean, it's my show, so I don't really care if you mind, but I'm saving that conversation for that pod, so I'm going to skim over some ROH stuff as we keep on going, but we're saving that for then. Yeah, Silver and Reynolds are going to take on the House of Black on Rampage, and Hangman is just kind of hanging around in his tie-dye, looking like one of the best friends. Yikes. Cesaro took on Jack Swagger. That was the thing that happened. Thoughts?
Jack Swagger.
I mean. Okay.
I mean, it was a good match.
Before you give your thoughts, I want to be fair, because in the early days I took a lot of piss on AEW, and then WWE killed NXT, so now I have no soul and nowhere to go. The whole idea of, oh, there's a WWE guy, there's a WWE guy, oh, let's go through the card and see how many WWE guys there are. That's kind of played out now. I think we can all agree on that, unless you're just having a bit of fun, right?
Right.
But when they literally sold this match on Former Partners Collide, where were they formerly partners?
We, the people.
I mean, at that point, they are almost themselves reinvigorating that kind of commentary. Am I off the mark on that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
But AEW has stated before and does not shy away that, hey, these people know each other, have worked with each other in other companies, wink wink, have worked together in WWE if they were at WWE ever.
Oh, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but I think it gives new backup to, hey, this happens to be two ex-WWE guys, because I wouldn't mention it if they hadn't pushed it that way. Like, you could have just announced the match, and the fans will know that.
Yes.
But they went at it like hard enough to notice in the advertising and in the commentary of the match is my point. So when you've got a narrative that, like, even the fans that were taking a piss on AEW like me have gotten sick of and moved away from, you're sort of re-inviting it back in. And I think that's something that's not necessarily bad, but I think it's definitely something they need to keep in mind. The match itself is awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
The match itself, like, I've always said before, this is a take that I've said a lot. The Phoenix fans will forgive me. Wrestling can be good, wrestling can be bad. If I can tell wrestlers are having a good time, I'm going to have a good time. This was definitely two old friends having a match.
Oh, absolutely. This is a match that you know that they've worked like 1,000 times.
And Regal on commentary again.
Yeah.
Which is always good. Mr. Schiavone, Mr. Maniac, Man in the Mask.
Always good time.
Oh, Man in the Mask is good. I didn't even mind the interference in this 2.0 making the run in because it didn't ultimately end up mattering because Hager is a background character most of the time, so when he does get a solo match, he does really need to reassert himself every time he does have a solo match.
Mm-hmm.
Again, something they should probably work on a bit more, but he does it, and he comes in like a beast. Like, Hager, if they had built him properly, not so much like depended on him for mic work per se, gotten him a good manager, maybe not on the same level because he's not on the same level outside of WWE, but definitely within WWE, you could have had like a mini Brock Lesnar sort of like super athlete monster character if they had played with that properly.
Well, it also doesn't help.
Looks like he's done too much talk.
Too much talk as well. Too much smoke of the Mary Jane.
Yeah, it's true. It's also true. I do love Claudio's music though. It's like,
oh yeah, I'm enjoying it.
It's like stupidly high energy for like the group that he's in.
Right.
And even though I should have said this before. I love the fact that even though Moxley is in a group, he has a team, he has a faction, he still comes to the ring by himself. Like Eddie Kingston, unfortunately he's on the TV. Even though he's not part of the Blackpool Combat Club, he does come in through the crowd with Moxley if they're working together. And the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club just comes down the ramp with Regal. It's a very interesting dynamic. Cesaro's having a blast. Like, Cesaro cannot stop how much fun he's having being in AEW. I'm just happy for the guy.
He's finally being able to enjoy wrestling again.
I mean, yeah.
He does. He has nobody breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
You can genuinely see he's having fun again. He knows the fans love him. He doesn't have to ignore the Cesaro or Antonio, Claudio section signs any longer.
Right. And you got to imagine he's I know there's obviously probably some new faces as well, but you got to imagine he's working with a bunch of people that he loves working with.
Yeah.
Like Cesaro, William Regal, Daniel Bryan, Wheeler Yuta, and Jon Moxley.
You can't get a better group right now in wrestling.
I want to get them away from the Jericho stuff and have them either feud with the House of Black or the Death Triangle. Because people gonna die. I mean, put one more member in the House of Black, put one more member in the Death Triangle, and then have 4-on-4-on-4 triple threat Survivor Series match with no rules.
Yes.
That would be the whole pay-per-view. And also, again, like I said before, even when he was in WWE, here's a guy that, I don't need to know what his character is, I don't need to know what the story is, just put him in a match, and I'm going to watch. So there's two of those in him and Hager, and they kick the shit out of each other. And they got out of, either one of them really having to take a loss with the 2.0 run-in. 2.0 came in to be made into idiots, which they're really good at, and I'm looking forward to them being in a shark cage next week. It's going to be good. Thunderstorm are in the back. Thunderstorm is a thing. It's awesome.
Yes.
Promo. They're confronted by Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, and I thought in my notes, it's these guys are going to fight. When? And it's no, you guys have a match on Rampage against jobbers, and we'll be watching. Yay! The other thing is, the other team that I would have loved to see tonight as well, because they are currently harassing Jade Cargill, who should never have a microphone, is Chris Statlander and Athena. Love them as a unit. If it does not that they're the same people, because Statlander and who I'm about to mention are very different, but I do get the same energy from them as a team that I got when Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart were the NXT Tag Team Champions. It's just like, let's go have some fun, let's rock, let's fucking do it. Statlander's awesome, way too underutilized. I'm just putting that out there. And yeah, at some point we're going to get Thunderstorm versus Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. They did the whole thing with the sandbag. I'm like, all right, okay. We get it. It's fine. And then, after talking about all these great women's wrestlers that didn't wrestle tonight, Serena Deeb and Anna Jay apparently had a match.
Yes, they did.
I fell asleep. Because they don't know what to do with Anna Jay, and I'm sorry, like, Serena Deeb's current gimmick is that she's a violent Karen.
Yeah.
So I wish I could care, because she's phenomenal. Like, Serena Deeb is their, I would say, Natalia Neidhart, in the sense of, I'm never really going to care about her on my TV screen, but I know the technique and the knowledge and the experience that she brings to the ring. I know that she's probably doing great things for that roster behind the scenes. I know she probably mentors and helps a lot of people, but I don't care when she's on my TV. I wish I did. I really do. I want to, like, when you see somebody that's good, you want to get excited about telling you that they're good, but I'm not excited when Serena Deeb is on my TV.
Right.
And, like I say, Anna Jay was out there to be fodder for her, because we know Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez are fighting at Death Before Dishonor for that title, which should still be on Deonna Purrazzo, but that's another title for another pod. My girl got robbed. It's fine. We don't need to worry about it. We don't need to talk about it. That her other title is temporarily on Jordynne Grace, who could also get it, but, again, Impact sometime this weekend, hopefully, if I have time. This is where we get Excalibur doing his rundown of what's happening for like the next 10 years in AEW. On Rampage, we're getting Gresham versus Lee Moriarty. I don't care. It's the one ROH title that they have literally not featured at all in preparation for this pay-per-view that's coming up, so it's kind of weird. The Gun Club are going to explain themselves why they turned on the Acclaimed. It's because the Acclaimed are having a face turn. There, I just told you why they turned on the Acclaimed. It's fine. Private Party versus the Lucha Brothers. Now, this is important, kind of. We're recording this on Thursday, so Rampage has already happened. I haven't read the spoilers, so if you've read the spoilers and you're listening to me now and you're like, Spaz, you're an idiot, fine, cool, whatever. Private Party need to rehab themselves. Like, yes. They got into the Hardy family office thing, and then nobody really cared, because that was just like a homogenous, like, pot of people. I want to care about them again, because I know that they're good, and they're fighting the Lucha Brothers, so you know it's not going to be a bad match, but now their entire faction has been handed off to another guy, because Matt Hardy's decided he's a good guy again. Roddy. Lost my train of thought there. That really sucks. It doesn't need to be a thing. I mean, Andrade runs the faction, and he's hardly ever on TV. So just let Private Party be Private Party again. Oh, should have mentioned this earlier, and I'll mention it now instead. Alan Angels, formerly of the Dark Order, made his debut on Impact last week. Had a really kick-ass match with, I think it was Speedball Mike Bailey. Really, really good match after the really, really good match between Bailey and Trey Miguel. So if you're looking for two matches to randomly seek out and watch and just enjoy because Spaz said so, first of all, that's really weird. Second of all, go check out those two matches. It was really good. So Dark Order still doing good Dark Order things. His gear's still black and purple. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then, yeah, Silver and Reynolds are taking on the House of Black, and they're going to die.
Yes.
Next week, we've got Jericho Kingston in the Barbed Wire Everywhere match with the Jericho Appreciation Society in a cage, and Christian Cage and Luchasaurus are going to kill the Varsity Blondes, and Brody King and Darby Allin are going to mutually kill each other.
Yes.
Then we get a rundown of the Death Before Dishonor card. So far, Yuta versus Garcia, Lethal versus Joe, FTR versus the Briscoes has been confirmed, and Martinez versus Deeb. No match for the ROH World Championship. Just putting that one out there. But he's also shagging Jordan Grace, so he's got better things to worry about. We see.
Not wrong.
I mean, yeah. We get a brief. I can speak. I swear my writing is fucking terrible. We get a brief shot in the back of Tay Conte coming to make fun of Anna Jay, telling her to make better choices in life. Because she got owned by Serena Deeb, and her friend is doing better off without her. It's catty and everything that you could say bad about it, but it's also like, I could kind of get down with Tay Conte versus Anna Jay if it's going to elevate Anna Jay a little bit.
I think if anything, it might be turning and they might be trying to turn Anna Jay heel with Tay.
See, I don't think they need to do that. I would much rather, like, Anna Jay is really, like, Tay Conte was really likable, and now she's proving that she can be a good heel as well. But Anna Jay's really likable. They had her debut as a solo and then very quickly put her in the Dark Order. And the Dark Order doesn't really exist as a whole anymore. I'm trying to not be disrespectful when I say that, but basically you get 1 in 10 that have tag matches, and you get Silver and Reynolds that have tag matches, and Cowboy hangs out with them sometimes, and -1 hangs out with them depending on what city they're in, and Anna Jay just is like on the outskirts, which is totally shit if I'm being completely honest. So the fact that like half of her group of friends is gone, she just got her ass handed to her by a professional like Serena Deeb, and even her own friend is making fun of her. Technically, this should elevate her, and you could have a mid-card feud between her and Tay, and I think that could be really cool. You could have a match that's not, it's not about the shiny thing, because neither one of them have the shiny thing. They're not fighting over a boy or something stupid like that. They're not doing a Barbie doll, oh my god, I'm prettier than you match. Like, it's just another feud that can exist on the card without having one of those reasons attached, and I think it could be good. I mean, it'll be middle to low card when you consider all the other stuff that's going on, and Jade Cargill still taking up one of the titles. We don't need to talk about it. It's fine.
Yes.
But I think it's another thing that they could just... It's a string that they already have to pull, so I'm thinking it's about time that they pull it, because Tay Conte hooking up with Sammy Guevara, and then the whole thing between her and Anna Jay just not existing anymore, like, that needed to come back together at some point, because WWE, that would be dropped like a rock, I'll be honest, but, like, this is the Details company, so you expect details.
Right.
Anyways, I've rambled on quite long enough about that. I'm going to hand you the mic, sir, and you are going to tell us all of your thoughts on the Triple or Nothing match between the Bucks, Team Taz, and Swerve in Our Glory.
I fell asleep.
During the match?
Like, literally the last 10 minutes, I fell asleep.
Oh, no. Well, that was the end of the recording. I've been Spaz. He's been Quavo. Subscribe up there. No.
I mean, of course, I rewatched it.
Yeah.
I mean, start to finish, you knew going in it was going to be a good, hard-hitting match, no matter what. Spot City, big meaty men slapping meat. I mean, it's great.
Big meaty men still doing spots.
Right.
The frog splash from Hobbs. I don't know. I don't have any notes for this match. I just wrote down the match and the fact that
the fucking roundhouse that barely missed Matt Jackson's head from fucking Keith Lee was ridiculous.
The fact that the Bucks got powerbombed into each other in the ropes.
Right. Just the entire match was great, and I say this with all due respect. And new tag team champions, Swerve in Our Glory. I'm okay with it.
I'm gonna say one not negative thing, because the match was fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
But one sort of concerning thing.
Nitpick. Okay.
Right? No, it's not a nitpick. It's I'm a big fan of Keith Lee and Swerve Scott. I like them as a team. I'm glad that they won, etc. Right? This is a genuine, and I don't want to sound condescending when I say this either, so I hope nobody takes it that way. I don't want anybody to get hurt. Keith Lee has been through enough in his recent life just before coming to AEW that I want nothing but good things for the guy, right? We talked earlier about with Eddie Kingston and with Adam Cole how people are doing like shitty body shaming stuff. That's not what a wrestler looks like, etc. I'm not doing an SJW thing, but it's a thing that's out there. It's happening, right? Which we can agree is fucking shitty.
Correct.
But since Keith Lee came into the company, not only have they been saying like, oh, he looks a bit out of shape, he looks a bit tired, he's not moving like he used to move and whatever, and then like he'll go do something great, and he's like, oh well, somebody like him shouldn't be doing something like that. And I hate that shit, right? Because you get somebody like Keith Lee, who is that big, and I'm not saying big as a derogatory thing. I'm just saying like the guy's a big, powerful dude who can do that kind of shit, right? I want him to do stuff like that. I don't want him to hear people saying stuff like that and throw it like with twice as much intensity just because he's trying to prove them wrong, because then ironically and sadly something might happen that's going to make them right, and I don't want those people to be right. That huge suicide senton that he did towards the end of the match to the outside is something that he can definitely do, but on this night specifically, I think he went in there with something to prove to those people, and I think that that's going to have bad results. And if that ever does have bad results, I hope every single one of those people that are pulling like those kind of takes feel like absolute assholes.
Right.
That's my only thing. Is like, I think he can definitely do it, but the people telling him that he shouldn't do it are creating a situation where maybe he shouldn't actually do it, but that's not coming from me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like
it makes sense.
Like if
it tracks.
If the Bucks operate at a 10, right, as far as high flying, right, and Keith Lee knows that he can operate at a 10, and to prove to the assholes on Twitter or whatever on social media that he can be a 10, he tries to be a 12. It's a self-fulfilling thing, and it's really I'm not explaining it very well at all. Everybody listening, I'm sorry, but it's a really shitty situation being created by the fans, and it's really fucking crap. And I wasn't thinking about it until that one spot, and I'm like, you did that because people have wound you up, and that's terrifying. Because the other side of it is, and this is equally shitty, you get somebody that big that can do a spot like that, and it goes wrong, he's going to hurt himself for sure, and he's going to hurt everybody else. And then those same shitty people that caused it are never going to look at themselves and be like, maybe we had a hand in this.
Right.
Anyways, that's all I wanted to say about that. Keith Lee's fucking amazing. I want to say, keeping the thoughts on the team that won, there's a lot of talk once again about like who all came from WWE, who came from here, who came from there, whatever. And you talk about like the tippy top of like, if you want to call it an AEW, WWE, like victory, defeat, whatever you want to call it, like, oh, it was a big win for them when they got Punk. It was a big win for them when they got Danielson and Cole and Moxley, and all of those things are true, right? I think just under the radar, one of the greatest pickups, maybe not today, but like in the next 5 years, that they got from WWE was Swerve.
Yeah.
Like, and it's one of those like, I'm giving you this right now, but there's more coming. That's what I think every time I see him in a match right now. And it's fucking fantastic. And that's to say nothing about the other 4 guys in the match. Because Hobbs is Hobbs. Ricky Starks is going to be a star. And, I mean, the Bucks were there too, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, the Bucks got infinitely better as soon as they joined the Undisputed Era. It's fine. No, the Bucks are good. Don't come for me in the comment section. But no, I don't know. I feel bad because like I should have more to say about this match other than like it's fucking awesome. If you didn't watch it, what's wrong with you? Go watch it. Kind of a bummer that this wasn't on pay-per-view. Because
this was definitely a pay-per-view caliber match.
Yeah, I would like because we got this just recently with Team Taz, Swerve in Our Glory, and Jurassic Express when they were champions, right? And both times, actually, now that I've come around to it, it's tired in here. Thoughts are coming slow and steady. I thought this at the pay-per-view, and I thought it briefly again this past Wednesday. The feud going into this match is Team Taz, Swerve, and Lee. That's the feud. Neither one of them was feuding with the champions at the time until the Bucks sort of said, hey, I want a piece of that, and then we made it a triple threat, and it's fine, right? I feel like the feud is Team Taz and Swerve in Our Glory, and then they brought in whoever was the champions because they knew those two teams deserved to be in the title picture. So the champions felt like the third wheel in their own championship match. I felt that at the pay-per-view with Jurassic Express, even though I like Jurassic Express. I felt that on Wednesday, even though the Bucks are the Bucks. But I still feel like the story is these two other teams, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yes.
Because if you think about WWE had a problem for a while in the women's division, where it was basically the four horsewomen were the teams that mattered, and then there was sort of everybody else. And then you stick up for somebody like an Alexa Bliss or a Nikki Cross or an Asuka or etc. And it meant a little bit more when one of them won. I think you sort of have the same thing in AEW when you think about their tag division, because it's like the Bucks, FTR, I was about to say the Lucha Dragons, the Lucha Brothers, and Jurassic Express were sort of their four mains. And then you had a bunch of other teams underneath that were great, but it was those four sort of were the highlighted ones, right? So
Right.
Swerve and Lee winning is awesome. It's a little extra awesome because it's not one of the, I guess you would say, the top shelf, or what would have been considered the top shelf at one point. I don't know. That's a me thing. Again, that's not anything like AEW didn't say these are the teams that matter, these are the teams that don't, but it's kind of naturally how it's come across. And Swerve and Lee being a generally new team, you're gonna have that. You're not as established as the Bucks, and you're not as established as the Lucha Brothers, even Jurassic Express in the early days of AEW. So unexpected, especially on a weekly episode of Dynamite.
Yes.
Couldn't be happier for them. Did you see Lee's speech after the show went off the air?
I have not yet. I saw, like, before I got on with you, I was scrolling on the Book of Faces, and I saw it pop up. I'm like, oh, cool, I need to watch that later. And didn't.
Yeah, okay, I'll just say for you or for anybody else that's listening that hasn't gone and see that, go check it out. It's only about 2.5 minutes long. It's some deep, heartfelt stuff from Keith Lee, and it's just it's a little out of the script. So nice little personal moment that he had there, and yeah. So we got a lot to look forward to. We got Kingston and Jericho, all the barbed wire, steel cage, shark cage stuff. Rampage is Rampage. We're gonna have to have a pod one day about how they can possibly fix Rampage, but the short answer is I don't know.
Get rid of it, or yeah,
yeah,
just make it a 2-hour show.
So
at a better time slot.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this at you, even though it's completely unfair because you never know what life's gonna be. If the scheduling gods like us, we'll get you back for week 2, or if I can find you, and if you can find the time, and if you're not too tired from your brand new adult job, everybody congratulate Guapo.
Hey, I got a new job where I don't have to deal with children anymore.
Guapo's an adult, kinda.
Well, I say deal with you. I don't have to manage children any longer.
Yeah.
Who don't show up for fucking work.
Anyway,
Bitches.
so hopefully, maybe, perhaps we get you back for week 2 of Fyter Fest. This has gone on for quite a long time now. If not, we will definitely get you back for ROH Death Before Dishonor, and hopefully we'll have a world title match by then. Tell them where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Guapo_504 and the Spaz Phoenix channel. Oh, wait, we're here already.
He kind of ruined the gimmick a little bit, but then, yeah, if you are here, then you already know where to find me. I've been Spaz, he's been Guapo. We are your, this time around, AEW reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, me and Senor Guapo are tagging out. Bye, guys.
Adios.